Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the first order of the day is a motion standing in the name of distinguished Senator George Sekibo on the need to establish a presidential intervention committee on the rehabilitation of the Northeast. The motion is sponsored by George and 29 others, including my honorable self. The Senate President may wish to invite distinguished Senator George Sekibo to move the motion.
Distinguished Senator George Sekibo.
Sekibo, C-O-N. Mr. President, I want to sincerely thank you for the opportunity to move this motion. The motion is co-sponsored by about 37 distinguished senators. 2 of them, their names were omitted by the Secretariat. They are Ranking Senator James Manager, C-O-N, and Senator Peter Wamboshi. Their names are not included in the motion. Mr. President, permit me to go to the body of the motion straight. The Senate notes with dismay the infrastructural damages caused by the Boko Haram insurgency in the northeast zone of the country, especially in Adamawa, Borno, and Yobe states. Aware that since the inception of the insurgents' assault in the region, several government institutions such as education and health institutions, as well as the police, the custom, the immigration, and the military barracks have been completely destroyed with no offices and facilities for use by the institutions affected. Further aware that thousands of personal buildings and properties, social amenities and infrastructure such as electricity and telephone lines have been destroyed and therefore not in service in many parts of the zone. Observe that the livelihood of many indigenes of the area have been disrupted, such that majority of the people are either in IDP camps or are helplessly roaming the street without any hope for their future. Observe further that as a war-torn area, these affected people have no one to go to and ask for arms or support of any kind. Worried that such a situation where people are kept without hope for a future will encourage them to give up themselves as recruits of the Boko Haram organization, as there seems the possibility of them having food for sustenance from the sect or engage in other sinister activities that could inadvertently affect the entire nation negatively. Further worried that government's inability to rehabilitate and rebuild infrastructure of areas that have been taken back from the insurgents is a strong sign of disintegration. Knows that security and welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government as provided in section 14(2)b of the 1999 Constitution as amended. Further knows that the National Assembly may make laws for the Federation or any part thereof with respect to the maintenance and securing of public safety and public order and providing, maintaining, and securing of such supplies and services as may be designated by the National Assembly as essential supplies and services, via section 11(1) of the 1999 Constitution as amended. Acknowledges that a stitch in time saves 9. Accordingly resolves to 1. Condemn the continual assault on the people of the Northeast Zone and other parts of the country by the Boko Haram elements. 2. Urge the President to do everything within his powers as provided by the Constitution to eradicate the Boko Haram insurgents in the country. 3. Urge the President to establish a Presidential Intervention Committee on the rehabilitation of the Northeast Zone, especially the 3 most affected states of the Adamawa, Borno, and Yobe. 4. Direct its committee on special duties to monitor the well-being of all internally displaced persons in the region, as well as the implementation of the Presidential Intervention Committee. Mr. President, before I finally move, permit me to take a few comments to enable us to understand further. I will just go to the questions straight away. Can any of us imagine ourselves living under canopies without walls? in all manner of climate. Can you imagine your wife giving birth in circumstances where the needed medical attention or local expertise or support is not available? Can you imagine a situation where your kids and dependents are crying for various lacks and there is no means of attending to them? Can you imagine a situation where your babies are dying and you have no opportunity of resuscitating them? Can you imagine a situation where your residents have been bombed and destroyed and you are forced to live in an IDP camp without hope of going back to your own community? Can you imagine a situation where the aged cannot run enough to escape the enemy's bombs and their guardians leave them along the way and either the enemy rod catches up with them or are left to die in hunger and in starvation? Can you imagine a situation where an able-bodied man wakes up in the morning and he has nowhere to go to? No farm, no opportunity of carrying out on any casual job, and indeed no one to go to for any support. The Boko Haram insurgency has left the following in the affected areas: extreme poverty. We are under the poverty line, but this is something below poverty. It is below the zero level. Unimaginable hunger as people look for food to eat every day. Anxiety, depression, and suppression. This is enough to cause terminal sicknesses like hypertension, diabetes, and so on. Hopelessness, loss of confidence or protection. But from record, Mr. President, Nigeria has about 3.3 million IDP persons scattered in the whole country. Out of this number, over 1.5 million persons are said to be displaced in these areas. Thousands of people have been abducted. According to the records, 2,000 people have been abducted. Many of them have been released. Some died in the abduction. Tens of thousands of civilians have been killed. From record, they said 5,500 civilians have been killed in the insurgency. Tens of thousands of people have been maimed. Those who escaped dead are completely halfway in their life. Agricultural livestock have been destroyed completely. And from records, over 6,000 structures have been damaged that belong to individuals. Mr. President, having seen this one, I believe I want to invite my colleagues to support us, to support this motion for you to pass through. I therefore move that my colleagues support the motion. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Deputy Senate President.